Hello and welcome back to another review. Today we're taking a look at the newest My Hero Academia movie, World Heroes Mission. I've been following My Hero Academia since Season 2 ended, and I've been thoroughly enjoying it. It's not the best written anime out there, as it has a lot of typical shonen tropes and some plot threads that do drag a bit. But for what it is, it's very enjoyable and engaging with the huge cast of characters they give you. This anime also introduced me to Yutaka Nakamura, a key animator. His works have heavily inspired me, and I absolutely love when he comes to do a scene in the show. Now, regarding the movies, the first one was pretty good for a start. The story itself was nothing really special, but it made sure to deliver on the movie scale in terms of the action and animation. However, when they made the second movie, Heroes Rising, I felt that they perfected it there. Not only was the animation an even bigger step up, but it utilized everyone from Class 1A, whereas most of them were pushed to the side in the first movie. The villains were all really cool to watch as well, and gave the main characters creative ways to actually overcome them. Again, the story isn't mind-blowing, it's actually pretty simple, but it does it very well. It also features probably my favorite anime moment I've ever seen thus far. It's exciting, emotional, and visually stunning thanks to Yutaka's work. And the music here makes it all come together as well. So, here comes the third movie. Lots of people debate whether these movies are considered canon or not, if it relates to the overall story with the main anime. And while it can be argued that the first two can and could not be canon, the third movie is 100% not that. It is entirely made up just so a third movie can even happen. Let's take a look at the story. Just a heads up, spoilers are to be discussed. A man known as Fleck Turn begins a movement called Humorize. He is following under our theory that quirks in the world will evolve and become too dangerous for humanity. So he kidnaps a bunch of scientists and forces them to make trigger bombs, an explosive gas that accelerates and mutates the quirks within people to make them spiral out of control, essentially to get rid of the humans that have them, while the normal humans that stay behind are accepted and spared. All of the pro-heroes, including the students from UA High, are then sent to different parts of the world to locate where the trigger bombs are placed to deactivate them. We are then introduced to Rudy Soul, a teen who takes care of his younger brother and sister solo since his father was taken away by Humorize, who he mistakens as him abandoning them. He has a little pink bird named Pino accompanying them, which is later revealed to actually be part of his quirk. She pretty much just reveals whenever he's lying and shows what he's really thinking. Yes, even he's embarrassed by this. While Deku, Bakugo, and Todoroki chase after some jewelry thieves, a man from Humorize escapes with the key to shut down the trigger bombs, while a villain working with Humorize chases after him. His suitcase is mistaken by the suitcase the jewelry thieves have in a crash. Rudy takes this opportunity to take it for himself, thinking that, at first, it was just simply money, and is desperate to have it to support himself and his siblings. It is at this point that Deku is now subtly framed for the murder of 12 civilians and is placed on the wanted list? So now, he and Rudy have to become vigilantes, travel the country, and try to hide out from the public. After Bakugo and Todoroki meet up with them, they find the man's recorded message in a chip found in the case, which also leads to the location of the secret base that has the main control system to stop everything. With that information found, the heroes fight against time in the different countries against Humorize, as the main three infiltrate the base to stop the trigger bomb from activating. Alright, well, that was quite a mouthful. As you can see, this movie has quite a bit going on, and I do like that about it. We see more locations in this movie, and it's not just limited to an island like the last two movies. It's more involved with its world, and makes it feel alive. However, the plot structure seems to be a bit all over the place. It's called World Heroes Mission, but unfortunately, we don't see much of the others in this movie, just little snippets here and there. Whenever they do cut back to them, it's mainly just to progress with the story in some way, and without much substance. As for the whole Deku is a murderer subplot, it seems like they don't do too much with it. The news basically reports it and shocks the world, and he goes into hiding for the second act of the movie. However, this is dropped once they learn of the location and have the final sequence. It isn't really resolved, and his name isn't really cleared in the news that he's innocent, so where did this come from, and why? Was it merely a distraction to hinder Deku from progressing further? If so, then why just him? It could have been any other hero in the other countries. Maybe it was something I missed, but it was pretty odd. Rudy is a fine enough character added to this. He has a basic depth that you would expect a character to have in the series, with a motivation for family, wanting to be strong, having to deal with a heavy burden, you know, the typical stuff. At first, I wasn't really feeling his inclusion, but he grew on me the more the movie went on. As for the villain, he was pretty interesting. However, his motivation was similar to Overhaul's from Season 4, where he wanted to erase quirks from humans and turn them back to normal. Except here, he's a bit more extreme, going with the terrorist route and also having a bit of a holy religious theme to him. It's pretty engaging, but I just wish we saw more of it. We literally learn his reasons and justifications in the last 20 minutes or so, which would have been a little bit more impactful if we had learned about him slowly throughout the movie. One last thing I wanted to mention was the animation. It's pretty nuts. They do a lot of very up-close action that's really in your face, but at times it can be a little too much, and it makes it a little hard to breathe and see what's happening. The other movies could be a little frantic too, yes, but it was still visible. Here, they needed to tone it down just a bit. They do try to do this experimental one-shot animation halfway through the movie, which is cool, but the artist they hire for this part is a little off. It lacked a lot of shadows and coloring to make the scenery pop, as it feels the characters are just flying around a 3D grid, and not like a rocky mountain. However, the ending fight sequence is pretty great though. Lots of sharp colors, quick impact frames, nice choreographed angles and movement, and great expressions. My favorite animator, Yutaka, also shows up for a quick cut towards the end. Fleck Turn's quirk is that he can reflect any attack or quirk thrown at him, and having his entire body act like a mirror, he can control them and the power of their reflection. Since Deku goes through his 100% form at the end, it becomes an extreme visual showcase of said reflection, with after images, rainbow colors, and wow, it's quite the cut. Not one of my favorites from Yutaka, but it's still really cool to watch and break down. Rudy shows up to help at the end and becomes injured. He also seemingly dies right before he puts the key in to stop the trigger bombs. Pino is even shown fading away, foreshadowing his death. But no, she actually manages to get it on there and stop the bomb at the last 10 seconds. And he survives. I mean, this dude lost way more blood than any human that has gotten hurt in the show so far, so I kinda think he should have died, but oh well, what you gonna do? Overall, despite all my criticisms, I still enjoyed this movie. Sure, it does have glaring flaws, such as the murder subplot, the messy action, the lack of the other heroes for death, and really how rushed the ending kinda was. I still consider the second movie much better, but it's My Hero Academia. I'm always going to enjoy what this series produces no matter the problems I have with it. Until it gets to the point where they really start getting repetitive with its stories and gets way too bland with it. By this point, they should stop with the movies and leave it as a solid trilogy, and instead pour all their attention into the actual series. Fans have complained that the animation quality of the show was lacking in seasons 4 and 5, because the studio was too busy working on the second and third movies, putting all of their animation time on those. If they don't have a fourth movie planned, then here's to hoping that season 6 will be a return to form with good art direction and a clear focus going ahead. I'm giving My Hero Academia World Heroes Mission a solid 7.5 out of 10. Thanks always for watching, guys. My next movie review will be Turning Red, Pixar's next film. I'm very excited to watch that one, so I hope you all be ready for my video covering it. As for future reviews, I do have a lot in my head that I do want to make, but there's a lot going on in my life at the moment. I just kinda need the time to settle down and take it one video at a time, so please forgive me if I take a while. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Tu bois son